We're going to do a live tonight. I've got some questions from some followers, and I'm going to talk about that, answer some of those questions for you guys. Welcome back. If you joined us a little while ago and we shut it down, so I'm waiting for my guest to join in, and then we'll get started with his subject matter. So just to give you a little background, this next fella, he's got a. Hold on, I'm just reading. Okay, cool. Got some more questions from you all. Awesome. And we're going to invite. Welcome the Primal Pursuit. Oh, wait, it didn't go through. There we go. Accept. All right, here he is. Welcome.
All right, I'm in.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, so I am Frederick Carl Fusco Jr. the second. I am blessed to be invited to this podcast. I don't have quite the cool badass operator credentials as some of his other guests, but I'm honored to be on it. So yeah, I just wanted to, give you guys a little introduction of my little hunting page that I just started and see if I can, get some other people who are into that to come follow me along.
Yeah. That was kind of my ulterior motive, guys, listeners. I want you all to head over to YouTube and check out he started a new hunting and fishing and outdoor recreation channel, right? That's your specialty, especially the hunting stuff. So we'll call this Fred Part Two. He's in charge of the guy, the HMFIC of the hunting division of Storm Tactical.
Yeah, VP of hunting.
Yeah, he's the hunting guru. In fact, we're planning a trip next weekend, right? Talk a little bit about that because we're going to get some footage for your channel on that, I hope.
Yeah, yeah. So next weekend we'll be going to my happy place, and it is deep in the swamp in eastern North Carolina. I'm not going to disclose exactly where because we got some good spots there. But yeah, it's I'll say this: it's about an hour inland from Wilmington, so it's pretty close to the coast, and you get some brackish waters, and there's a certain river that goes through, and basically, it's this river that goes through all this public game lands. For those of you who don't know, public game lands is a blessing that we have in the United States, where you get to go run around with your guns and shoot pigs or deer or whatever, depending what's in season. And yeah, so it'll be a good time. We have a good group of guys going. There'll be five of us, and we're gonna go put in on a river. We're gonna kayak through the swamp and stop on little palmetto islands and wherever there's solid ground, and try to get on some pigs, look for tracks, and see what we can do.
Yes, that's right. Murder some hogs
Yeah,
and get some
get some bacon.
pork chops and some pernil and all that stuff. Cool. All right. So you're starting a mostly hunting YouTube page, hunting and fishing YouTube page. What's the name of it?
Yeah, so this page, it's in its infancy, so I only have a handful of videos on my Instagram and like two videos on my YouTube as of now, but a ton more content to be uploaded. I just gotta edit it. But the Primal Pursuit,
Like 2 year old video, right? You said.
yeah, I've got videos from the last handful of years out there scouting and hunting, and I edited videos and never posted them, but now I'm finally gonna start doing that. And yeah, so the name is The Primal Pursuit. I've gotten big into the last couple of years. I've gotten really big into the primitive archery and primitive equipment, hunting equipment, stuff like that. So the page will consist of a lot of bow hunting stuff, scouting strategies, a lot of cool sightseeing, and there'll be some content on deer hunting. We got turkey season next month, so we'll be in the woods for that. But yeah, you can look me up, The Primal Pursuit on YouTube, or you can look me up, La Primal Pursuit, LA Primal Pursuit on Instagram.
Nice. Cool. Um, what else? Anything else? Are you on Facebook? Do you have it on Facebook or no?
Yeah, there'll be a Facebook soon. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but yeah, I'll be on all the socials. Probably not TikTok.
No, we don't do.
Kind of staying away from that one, and I don't think that would be much help for a hunting page anyway.
Yeah, we stay away from the Chinese intel collection, Facebook or websites and whatnot. Awesome. What else? What else do you got planned? You gonna do any? So you talk about deer hunting, wild pigs hunting, right? That's something we like doing.
Mhm.
Turkey's a few weeks away.
Yep. Turkey season. That's next month. So we'll get out there and you've been on the turkey game. You got all kinds of scouting done and all kinds of trail cam footage too. So we'll probably feature some of that stuff on. We have endless hours of trail cam footage from where Mr. Fred Sr. went out and put some cameras on our private land accesses and it's gonna be a good time next
Yeah, and
month.
you're welcome to use any of that footage. You still have access to that, right? The Google Drive folder.
hmm So yeah, if you're into trail cam footage, that'll be another thing I'll be putting on the page.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. What else you got? Anything else you want to talk about?
Not much. That's it. It's a pretty new page, so just follow along the journey. I'll be posting like everything from hunting, fishing, just hiking. I got the Bryn girl that I'll be doing some videos with probably. She likes to come out to the woods with me and crazy. But
Google all the what?
yeah, scare everything away. But
Rabbits and squirrels.
but yeah, just stay tuned. Next week we're gonna get a lot of good stuff. We're gonna be out hunting off our kayaks and john boats and tracking. I'll probably set up some snares and stuff. Actually, probably not. I don't think there's anything in season.
We
Small game.
we might should bring some cameras out and put some cameras out too for because turkey season's around the corner. And I definitely want to do some scouting while we're out there for a turkey sign and maybe we see some birds. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be nice. We always see them whenever it's not turkey season. We'll see. I
Yeah, drop
swear, hundreds of them on the side of the road in the fields.
there's also ag fields out there, acres and acres of open fields, and there's like literally 30 to 40 to or maybe even 50 turkey out there. Like it's ugh.
Yep, and then when the season comes, you got that one bird. You ever talk about that story? Talk about the one bird that got poached from you.
No, I haven't told that story. Let's do that story on your channel. I think that's a good place to do it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
uh,
that's a frustrating one, but there'll be plenty more birds to come.
that was last season, right? That was opening weekend, and basically the cliff notes are: I was on this bird. I heard him gobbling in the morning on the first opening day, and so I set up probably within 75 yards of it of the roost. He was up in the roost, and there was a couple others up there, and they responded to my. I was started with owl calls, and then I moved on to some hen calls with the mouth call, right? The reeds, and he was gobbling back at all of them. There's a couple gobblers actually that morning, and then you could hear them, pitch out of the trees onto the ground. I was like, oh, I can hear them. I heard the thud. I was pretty excited. And I was calling, they were calling back and they were just you could hear them moving in the opposite direction. I was like, actually, it was like 90 degrees to my left. So they were pushing north. I was sitting on the west side of them and they were just pushing north. So they were moving off to the left in front of me. And I never saw them. The next morning, I went to that same roost area in the swamp where that tree was. I wasn't right under it, but I was probably like 50 yards away from it. And I got in there nice and sneaky. It was dark. I was pretty quiet. And I heard him. He was up there gobbling. I did the same thing, same calls. I think I had an owl call and a couple crow calls. I did a couple crow calls. They were answering to that. They were gobbling back at that. And then he pitched down, and it was so close. I heard the. I was like,
Oh,
"Ooh, he's."
oh man.
And he was gobbling. We were going back and forth, and as he was replying, he was getting further away, pushing 180 degrees away from me, opposite direction. I'm like, gosh, damn it, I can't pick the right path. Because I didn't want to go down in the swamp and sit down there in the dark, and that's why I didn't go north, which is where I should have went, because that's both days. That's where he pitched down, And then a couple calls in, he was getting a little further away, and then all of a sudden I heard gunfire.
Man.
I was like, my crow call, nothing. No return gobble. I'm like, oh, somebody got him. I didn't hear anything the rest of that day. And then I think the following week, maybe 2 weeks later, you and I were out there to go sit, and you found the spot, which is in the vicinity where I heard the gunfire of the feather splash. There's feathers everywhere where he got blasted. Man, I was so
hmm And
mad.
it was just on our side of the property, or
Yeah,
our friend's side of the
yeah,
property.
and it was definitely a poacher because I asked the owner, "Hey, man, did you have anybody else out there at open weekends?" Like, no, you're the only one. I'm like, somebody's poaching on your property. He knew it. He knew it was the neighbors because they've been hunting that land before he bought it for generations, like 4 generations. And they had nobody to answer to because nobody cared that nobody maintained that property. It's basically a big swamp with some surrounding high ground. And he's developing it now. So I'm not sure what it's going to be like. I'm going to go out there soon and check it out. But basically, he's like, yeah, I got neighbors that they've been hunting the land for years, and I probably just got to put signs up and go talk to them and tell them, hey, it's kind of off limits now. So he hasn't done that yet, I don't think.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that spot was a gold mine. I hope it continues,
you see,
especially.
you seen the videos, right, of all the birds,
Oh
like
yeah, so many birds,
this past
big.
fall, actually right before Christmas, right before the Christmas break.
hmm
Like,
Yeah,
gosh,
lots
that place.
of big bucks, all
Oh yeah,
kinds
huge.
of good stuff.
The only thing they don't have out there is pigs, which we don't have a lot of pigs. I don't think we have any in Moore County, but I know Richmond County does because I see them out there.
hmm Yeah, and that spot is awesome, man. I still think about that buck that got away from me when I was on the ground with my recurve.
You want to tell that story, or do you want to save that for your channel?
I can go ahead and tell that story. I can tell that story a million times and not get bored of it. But yeah, so basically, I spent 4 days. I want to do one of these little catch and cook challenges for myself out on this property, and I didn't see shit first 2 days. And I was getting out there. I was getting set up in my spot by like I don't know 4 or 5 a.m. like way before light, and I'd take a little nap and then wake up right before daylight. And anyway, the the second night, I just did not sleep well. I ended up getting really sweaty in my sleeping bag, and like right off the bat. And then like at that point, I was screwed. It was cold outside, and then hot and sweaty in my sleeping bag. So that sucked. So I didn't really get good sleep. But then I woke up that next morning pretty late, a lot later than I'd been waking up the past 2 days. I didn't get up till like 6. So I was pretty discouraged. And I was like, maybe I'll just sleep in, go out late morning. And I was like, no, no, I got this. I'm going to get up and suck it up and do it. So I got up and I was half asleep, pissed off, got maybe like 2 hours of sleep. And I'm going to go grab my rifle. And it was in my car, locked in a Pelican case, underneath my range bag that was underneath my hunting pack and all this stuff on top of it. And I was, too lazy to grab the rifle, so I was like, I'm just gonna grab my recurve bow and go out there. So that's what I did because it was right there, easy to grab. I've been practicing that thing every day. Felt very accurate. Did a few practice shots before I walked in. I was dead accurate. So I get out there, I get set up. 7:45 rolls around. I'm hearing a lot of action behind me, maybe like 30 yards behind me, and I'm sitting in this spot where I killed a doe previously, a couple weeks before, and it's basically just this little opening in the middle of the forest with it's like kind of surrounded by some oak trees that they drop a lot of acorns in like September. And by this point, I think this is like the second week of October or something like that. So the acorns weren't really dropping as much, but I was still in that spot because we had your trail cam there. We got a lot of footage there, and I'm just sitting under this pine tree. There's like sitting up against it, and I started getting antsy and impatient because I swear I'm hearing stuff going on behind me, 30 yards behind me on some of those trails. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna get up and reposition myself a little bit. So I get up, I take like, I don't know, 5, 6 steps. I'm slowly crouching. I just have my bow. I left my bag under the tree, and I get caught right in this middle of this open spot. I had to cross this little open spot to get, back to the other wood line. And I look up, and right as I get stuck in this open spot, I look up. I see a big ass buck, probably like a 4 point, 5 point. For me, he's a big buck. He's got a thick old neck, and he looks right at me. Like I probably see him. He's maybe 30 yards away. We just lock eyes, and I'm like, oh shit, he's gonna win me. And he sees me. He's gonna win me. He's gonna run away, and he doesn't. He keeps walking towards me, steady. So I'm just like, uh-oh, and he's getting closer and closer, and he gets to about 20 yards in, still facing directly at me, and he stops, and we're just staring at each other, looking each other in the eyes, and he's just blowing steam out of his nose like a dragon because it's so cold that morning. And I have a cloud of, fog in front of me from me just breathing and shaking. And yeah, I just have my bow up. He looks at me, and I'm just waiting for him to give me a broadside shot so I can pull my bow, but he doesn't. He just sits there, and we just have a stare down, and I'm just waiting for him to go sideways. So he starts to go broadside. He's kind of quartering away a little, or quartering towards me, and he starts making his way. He gets to the point where he's about 10 yards. I could literally throw a rock at this thing, and he's completely broadside, but there's a tree like perfectly blocking his vitals. And just one step forward in front of him, like if he just took one more step, he would have given me a nice open lane, and I could have just nailed him. Like no problem, 10 yards away, I'm on the ground with my bow, and he just doesn't take that step forward. He just, I don't know what hit him, something, and he just decided to turn around and just slowly walk away. So I tried to put a stock on him, and he was gone. Never saw that guy again, but man, it got me hooked up to the using a recurve bow, that's for sure. Because if I had my rifle, I would have dropped his ass as soon as I saw him from 30, 40 yards away. But since I had my stick bow, the struggle stick, I had to wait for him to get really close to get a good shot, and I just didn't get the shot. I probably could have. Some people take those front facing shots, but I couldn't sleep at night if I had, launched an arrow and injured him and he got away. So I just let him walk, and now I'm hooked on using my recurve bow. Now that's all I use, and that's what I'm going to be using next weekend when we're pig hunting.
Yeah. Wow. You said he was like grunting at you, like snorting at you, like you thought
Yeah.
he charged you.
Yeah, there was a point where I thought I was going to have to fling an arrow at him in self-defense because he was like bowing his antlers at me, stomping the ground, snorting at me. I was like, this guy's going to charge me, because this was before the rut, but this is when the studs are usually running. They usually rut a little bit sooner, so he was aggressive. He was ready to fight, and I don't know
Yeah.
what changed his mind, but I'm glad he didn't run at me.
And that was our spot we sat at several times. And it
Hmm.
was the morning that I decided to sleep in, right? I was like,
Yeah, yeah, that was the one morning you didn't come out
well,
there.
they never come when I'm there. So I'm just going to give you the benefit of the doubt, see if they show up without me. So I slept in, and sure as shit, man, I was like, man,
He came out there, but all I had was my stick bow, so couldn't get a shot off. But I'm glad. I wouldn't trade that for the world. Even if I could go back and use my rifle instead, I wouldn't, just because that intimate experience with that deer just got me hooked,
yeah,
man.
that's cool. Wow. All right. Well, um, cool. Let's, I'm going to start taking some of these other questions because I don't want to like keep people waiting. I know some people, I checked there's a little question online question thing here that people submitted questions to. Um, there's the boot one is on there. But okay, here's one. Here's a good one. Anything happy? That's funny. How legit was Bortac's national team? Are they on par with HRT and other top tier federal teams? Bortac, in my opinion, and I've worked with them on multiple occasions. In fact, they came to the unit once, I think, when I was doing dogs. But even after that, even after I retired, um, we worked together, and then they hired me I did a couple small contracts with them to do a couple really specific, very niche courses like canine ropes. So like fast rope, rappel, raise, lower, high angle stuff, which was pretty cool. Compared to HRT, and this is my opinion, I think they're about level with HRT. I think HRT has a different function than they do, but I know they worked in joint operations or combined operations when there's those fugitives up in upstate New York that were escaped up near the Canadian border, And all those guys were up there searching that area for those dudes. And it was Bortak that actually engaged with one of them and killed them. And they get credit. And I know that team leader because I worked with his team. He's a former Ranger and really squared away guys. But as far as FBI and HRT, they're about the same, but they do have two different mission sets. HRT is hostage rescue, right? That's what HRT stands for, hostage rescue team. So Bortak doesn't really specialize in that. Not saying they don't train CQB. I know they do because I did it with them. But, you know, they have a different skill set or a different mission set. Another question I got was, and this one's kind of long, multiple parts. And hey, buddy, if you don't want to hang out for this, you can sign off. It's up to you. I don't mind if you're there. If you have anything you want to chime in on, feel free. Because there's going to be it's about equipment like boots and stuff like that.
Yeah, I probably don't have too much insight on some of these topics.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can hang out. It's no big deal. All right. So the first question or the second question is, I was, or you were, this is the person's point of view. You were an assaulter, breacher, canine handler, medic, sniper, and a few other things. What did you enjoy most and why? So that's a hard one to answer. And I don't think there's one I enjoyed the most. I enjoyed a few of them more than others, but probably equally and for different reasons. I'll start with medic since that's what I did first. I was a Green Beret Special Forces medical sergeant on an ODA. And that was a great job. And I got a ton of experience and I got a lot of really cool cases that I got to work as a medic, especially during the war, the Iraq war. And everything from pulling bad teeth, doing dental visits, to seeing burn patients, lots of burn patients, some gunshot trauma, some traumatic gunshot injuries or gunshot wounds, some broken, I think I had a broken nose once. Didn't see a lot of other broken bones like arms, feet, legs, anything like that. So just some combat trauma stuff. And then later on at the unit as an operator, I worked on a couple of guys and a dog, a canine, Bodie actually. One of the dogs I handled, he was a buddy of mine's dog who was killed, and I handled him the night he was killed. And then after that, that was Aaron Greider's dog, Bodie. And then Bodie got shot that night when Aaron got killed. Went home, rehabbed. I went to the surgery with him and kind of helped the docs with him over at the FOB when the surgeons were working on him. And he went and rehabbed, and then he went back on the next our next deployment, and he went in combat with another handler buddy on my team, Scotty. He was an alternate dog because Scotty's primary dog got killed on that trip. And then Bodie went in after a bad guy. Bad guy was armed and he shot him, and Bodie died on that trip. But Bodie did, I think, like 5 or 6 combat rotations, all with successful like apprehensions and bites. And that was a great dog. So I got to work with him. And I got to work with my dog. I did not deploy to combat with my primary dog. I ended up getting injured and missing that rotation, but I did a lot of training with him. I trained for 2 alert cycles with him, and I just didn't deploy. I missed that last deployment because I got hurt. So medic was cool, not my favorite. It wasn't the favorite, but I loved doing it. Assaulter is probably one of the top 2. Assaulter is the highest level of adrenaline, I think, out of all of them. Because you're kicking in doors or you're blowing in doors and you're running in and you're engaging with the enemy up close and personal. So that's a bit of a rush, right? No matter how many times you do it. Breacher is pretty exciting. It's just another assaulter because once you breach the door, you're an assaulter. But you specialize and you learn how to build a lot of different charges and different ways to open doors with different applications and walls, gates, roof charges, like the whole shebang. And it's a lot of fun. Probably not my favorite job as an assaulter, but I learned a ton of stuff, a lot of good knowledge.
You also had a lot of chunks in your hand, in your
A
knuckles for years.
lot of scars on my hands from being just a little too close to window charges and the fragments of glass, shards of glass flying everywhere. Yeah, for sure. So assaulter, breacher, sniper, probably that's one of the assaulter and sniper. Sniper is probably my second. The only thing I don't like about that is the technical side as far as surveillance equipment and comms. I'm not a big comms fan. Communications equipment, I hate it. I think I give off an electromagnetic pulse because I shut down a lot of comms when I'm really close to them, like radios and stuff. They don't seem to want to work, or computers when I'm around them. But the long range shooting part, I love it. Like that's even though that's like maybe 20% of that job, it's a lot of fun. I love it. That's probably my favorite type of shooting. So assaulter and sniper are probably my two favorites. Canine handlers is probably up there too. So those would be the top three. Because as a canine handler, you're kind of on your own, and you know you have responsibilities. You're working in a team with other assaulters and all the enablers, but like you're the only one that's controlling that dog and knows what the dog can do and know how to use the dog. So you're kind of advising if there's a problem that comes up on the target, like a weird tunnel or something like that, that you find, like, you know, they're like, oh, let's go down there with pistols. Like, why? I have the dog. That's his specialty. So they all have their positives. Some of them have a few negatives, in my opinion, but that's how I kind of laid that out. All right. Next question. I'm going to take Lorenzo's question next. Let me make sure I get this right because he is from Italy and he speaks Italian, so English is a second language for him. And I just want to make sure I don't mess it up. Let me see because it translates over. He said, questions. Oh, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Boots, comma, hiking boots. So I think he's asking. I'm speculating here. What boots do I like as far as hiking boots go? I'm going to show you my favorite so far, the ones I currently use, and they're pretty faded on the tag, so I'm going to have to guess on which model they are. But the brand is Salua, right? These guys right here. I know it's backwards. Salua, Salewa. These things they're nice and light. They're not overly heavy and bulky, but they're super supportive and they take a beating. I've had these boots for years and used the crap out of them. I've done patrolling in them. I've done some scrambling on them, some rock scrambling, hiking. I've been in swamps. I've been in all kinds of terrain with those. I've hiked some mountains with them and they're awesome. They're light enough to where you know your hip flexors aren't getting smoked on a really steep hike. Um, I like them. Salua, probably my favorite company that makes boots. Hopefully that answered Lorenzo's question. So I'm going to cross that one off as answered.
I also love my little boots.
Yeah, you got some too. Which ones do you got?
I don't remember the model. They're bulky ones. You got them for me for Christmas when I lived in Boone.
Oh yeah,
I used them for a lot of
I
hiking.
think you have the similar ones.
Yeah, they're high tops as well.
I think mine are called the Mountain Trainers or Mountain Trainer Lights, and I think you had like very similar pair.
Hmm. Yeah, those things are badass. I still use them all the time whenever I go on. Pretty much only when I go to the mountains because they're very aggressive and the grip is insane. The tread on them is awesome.
Yeah. All right. I just got a new question, or I just found it on this online one. What was the relationship like with both HRT and SEAL Team 6 when you guys trained and deployed overseas, which was easier to work with or which was easier to work with professionally? That's really, oh, I think I lost, oh, there you are. Thought I lost you for a second. Okay, HRT. So we had an HRT rep deploy with us on every deployment in Iraq for many, many trips. Those guys are super professional. They did a lot of the forensics for us, right? So they would, we would get DNA samples and fingerprints and all that stuff on enemy combatants, both alive and KIA. And they would enter them in the national database. They had a special little machine they brought out there with them. And that was kind of their thing. They would come with us. They didn't do the initial clear with us, but they were kind of with the headquarters element. And then they came in, and once the target was secure, they would come in and do their thing. Awesome guys. I loved all the ones I worked with. Never had any issues with them. Never had to tell them to do anything or give them detailed instructions. They're like fire and forget. SEAL Team 6, a little bit different. I personally didn't work a lot of targets with those guys. We didn't do a lot of joint targets because I came in after an incident on a joint target that we had with them, and it was a kind of a fratricide type event. And I'm not going to get into the specifics of that. Just know that one of ours was shot accidentally, and I'm not going to get into the details of that, but we didn't do any more joint stuff with those guys after that. VA workers, or 80,000 VA workers are getting fired or getting relieved. What are your thoughts on that, and what was your personal experience with the VA? So it's a two-part question. I think I've been saying for years, since I started using the VA probably 10 years ago, that they should shit can. It's one of the biggest, most overdone branches of the government or office of the government, the Veterans Administration. Much too big and much too much bureaucracy. They do not get anything accomplished. They make veterans, they cause veterans stress and undue just complications with their already festering problems. They don't help. Now, I'm not going to say all the VA employees are shit, because there's a couple docs at the VA that I'm super grateful for and thankful for, especially like in the head injury department. I'll give you both sides of the story, both examples. There's a doctor, a psych at the VA. I think she was a psychologist. And I would go to her for my head injury stuff. And we did a few visits. It wasn't many, because she said I was I was good to go for the most part. I did have some issues, but nothing that was she thought was real concerning. Just memory stuff, a little bit of cognitive stuff here and there. But I would sit there and bitch her to her about all the other issues I had with the VA, trying to get appointments and having them cancel my appointments on me without notifying me, saying that they contacted me or they tried to contact me and they couldn't get a hold of me. And I told her, I was like, the pain clinic keeps canceling my appointments, saying that they call me, and they never call me. She's like, all right, let me email some people. So that day, I watched her shoot off like 4 or 5 emails to different departments in the VA, like supervisors, higher level ups, and she got them to square my shit away quick. I don't know how she did it, but she must have had some pull, because them docs were like, they weren't waiting on me hand and foot, but it was pretty close. Like, they were helping me out. They were way more helpful and more positive, I guess, my experience. And then that was before Trump got elected. Once Trump got elected, he shit canned the upper level administration. He hired a new VA director, and they started fixing some of those problems with getting appointments. People were waiting years for appointments, and they were dying on waiting lists. I luckily was not in a position to where it was life threatening stuff that I was waiting for. Like, it was pain management, or it was mostly pain, like broken back, broken pelvis stuff, and just trying to get help with that. And I just kept getting the runaround. Dental too, because their dental clinic's backed up and it's fucked. But once Trump got elected and changed the administration, they started making it to where you could get off-site VA care through a referral. So you go see your VA doc, you submit your complaint, this is bothering me, and he would say, well, we can offer you these options, usually meds, right? No, thank you. If you want physical therapy or rehab or anything like that, or a different, point of view from another doc, maybe a surgery or a surgeon, we can refer you to a pain management clinic. And they did that. They referred me to a pain management clinic, which was way closer than driving to the VA in Fayetteville. And they were way more receptive to my issues. And I didn't pay for any of it. The VA did. So that was helpful. They called that community care, which I think they're still doing it because some of my appointments are through community care. So it has improved a little. And then Biden got admitted, and then it went back to shit for a while. But they always kept the community care thing around. It was just harder to get referrals, but now it's a little bit easier again. Um, Now the bad side, like I said, they were canceling my appointments and not telling me. So I would go in for an appointment that I had for like 8 months, and they're like, "Oh, it got canceled. We tried to get a hold of you. We couldn't confirm." I'm like, nobody called me, nobody emailed me. So I've had issues with them canceling pain clinic referrals on me and other appointments, and they suck. The VA sucks. It's an oversized, big, giant, fat government bureaucracy that needs to go. They need to fire everybody, maybe not everybody, but all the big administrators, and just start from scratch because it sucks. It is not, they're not looking out for veterans. I think, in my opinion, they want veterans to die off so it's less taxing on their system. That's my opinion. Enough about the VA. That's my personal experience with it. All right. So we talked about that. Damn, did I already hit all the questions? I think I did. Let me check on here. Oh, I got some new ones. We talked about boots. Anything happy? That was one of the topics. Anything happy? Well, I'm happy because my son's here visiting and he's on here now. You doing all right over there, buddy?
Yep. Hanging tight, listening to the good stuff that I can't really give much of an opinion on. All the VA stuff, I kind of refrain from giving my 2 cents on that with, Anthony and all that stuff.
Oh, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
So
I mean,
I don't like the VA either.
actually, that's a good point. I think that's, if you don't mind sharing that, I think that's a great case in point to talk about the downside of the VA because that was one of the questions. And like I said, I didn't have anything that it was endangering my life, any problems that were life threatening, thankfully, right? Not yet,
Mhm.
but your friend Anthony, why don't you tell us a little bit, give us the backstory on that?
Yeah, so my best friend from growing up, Anthony, he was in the Air Force. He was a photojournalist, and he loved it. They gave him some awesome training. He loved making. He made some news articles that got published on like the Air Force national page, or like he had some good stuff, good content. And anyway, he went through a lot of drama with some bad people in the Air Force, and basically kind of came out with some issues, and basically yeah, he came out with mental issues. He got in a really bad car wreck, and I'll start with that. So he got in a really bad car wreck once, and he had this phenomenon where anytime he was like tried to run or lift or walk downstairs, walk upstairs, his legs would shake really bad. And this was after he like healed up and went through rehab and stuff after his wreck. But basically, it got to a point where his symptoms weren't getting any better, and he could barely walk. He could literally couldn't even walk like a mile without his legs like shaking to where he felt like he was going to collapse. And the VA just basically shit canned him. They kept they would claim that they're gonna call to make an appointment. They never called, and he would call them, and then they would refer to him to this number, refer to him to this number, and he never got the help he needed. And he started to speak out about it. He started to make a documentary of himself about it because a lot of people go through these issues. But long story short, they basically just hopped him up on a bunch of medicine for some of the mental stuff he had going on as well as the physical stuff, and they wouldn't get him in to do physical rehab. They basically kept telling him that there was no diagnosable injuries from his wreck. So they after that they didn't kind of left him in the dust, but he had video proof of his legs literally quivering anytime he would walk. So they screwed him there. They hopped him up on all kinds of antidepressants, this and that and the other, and he had made a lot of cries for help, and the VA would never do it. They cut him off from his therapy. Because they thought he was, past their bar, whatever it takes to not need therapy. And long story short, he's no longer with us. He's one of the many veteran victims that are victim of suicide. And I think the final straw that broke the camel's back was all this VA drama. So, in short, yeah, the VA screwed him. They hop veterans up on all kinds of drugs without giving them any kind of resolution of their actual issues, and they don't treat root causes, all that good stuff. So, yeah, they leave veterans out to dry. And that point you made about you think that they're trying to just thin the herd so they can do less work, that seems like a real thing.
I have no doubt in my mind that's what they do. They're in bed with big pharma, like most of our
Hmm.
medical industry is, and they just push pills. They try to do it with me for pain. They just, oh, here, we'll put you on this. Like, no, I don't want to take pills. I want to treat the root cause, whether it's a nerve injury or whether it's musculoskeletal, whatever it is. I want to do that, and that's why I had to go off site and go community care because they wouldn't. They just wanted to give me pills.
Hmm. Same thing for him. All they want to do is, he literally had like a 25-pound backpack he carried around with him that was full of drugs from the VA.
Yeah.
And like if they would take him off this thing and put him on this thing, and or give him a stronger dose of this thing, like it was insane. And it messed him up. It messed with his wiring, the way he functioned physically and mentally. They screwed him and they left him out to dry.
Yep.
So that's how I feel about that.
Yeah. It's horrible. It's horrible. Hopefully it gets fixed. I know there's a lot of more pressing issues right now on the political side, but hopefully that's one of the things he gets to because he did start to get it squared away before the first term in the first term, but it kind of went back to the way things were when Biden got elected. So I've got another question here. Final question from, I guess, from this person.
And then we got to finish it on something positive.
But yeah, I've got a few more questions. And like I said, if you want to bail anytime, you won't hurt my feelings. Like I know you're probably bored listening to me ramble because you had to do that growing up. So,
Nope, just
uh,
hanging out.
how often do you see National Guard SF guys at the unit? That's an easy one. Never. I never saw one. Not saying they don't ever make it. Not true. Here's a real quick short story. There was a Navy guy. He was a SEAL. He was a great dude. I'm not going to say his name. He came to my team, but he was not in the Navy when he came. In the Navy, he tried to go to selection. He was not allowed to go to selection. So he ETS'd from the Navy, went into the Army National Guard as a generator mechanic because that's what they offered him because he was prior service. And he took that and he went in the National Guard as a generator mechanic, applied to go to selection, and he made it. And then he went to OTC and then he ended up on my team. And he was an awesome operator. He was a great dude. He was an actual officer. Now that I think about it, he was an officer in the SEALs. He resigned his commission to try to come to the unit, and that's how motivated and dedicated that fellow was. But he was a great dude. I think he's probably retired now. I haven't heard from him in several years, but he was a good dude. But no National Guard guys I know of other than him. All right, next one. What? No, I think I already did that one. Yep, I already did that one. I just didn't delete it yet. And I did that. All right, I think that's all the questions that I had. I'm going to stay on here a few more minutes to give any last minute people that might want to pop in. One person, when I asked in that Instagram story, what would you like, what questions would you like me to answer, or give me a question to talk about subject? Somebody put anything nice. So that was pretty funny response. I like it though. I like the positivity, sharing the positivity. That's, we need more of that in this time. All right. Jesse 008. You said you had a question last time I did a live, but you forgot to ask it. So here's your chance if I didn't already answer it, because I think one of those questions I answered already was yours, and I don't remember if you didn't say if that was it or not. So let me know. Oh, she just commented. commented on your on Anthony's story. Yeah, truly a sad story. Unfortunately, it's very common in the VA, and that needs to stop. It needs to stop.
It does. And reach out to your friends, your family, your brothers. You know, a lot of men don't really know how to talk about feelings and stuff, and that's okay. But just be there to check on your people,
Yep,
especially those in the armed forces who are getting screwed over by the VA.
that's very true. That's a good point. All right. I think I had something else I was going to talk about, but like I don't think I wrote it down because I'm looking at my notes, so I don't remember. Oh well. Oh, maybe I can share a video. Let me. No, I can't do that when I have a guest on. That's right, because that menu goes away on the side of the screen.
What if I turn my video off?
No, it's still not there. It's all right. It's not a big deal because I'm going to do a couple. I got a few videos I got to go through, and some of them are a little longer, so I'm going to have to do some serious editing because I'm not going to sit there and watch a video that's 30 minutes long and comment on it. I'm going to trim it down a little to the important parts. But those are fun to do. Oh, here we go. Why do all SEALs do all the shows? I think that's what it means. All the show and hardly see any Delta guys. Well, I don't know that that's 100% true, Sapper, and here's why I tell you. I don't know if you watch SEAL Teams or SEAL Team, I think it's called on CBS. It just finished. What was it, last year? But there were several unit guys that were involved in that show, both as actors and as writers. Um, Several. One of them I know real well. I haven't seen him in years, but um, there's a few. It's funny because it's a story about SEALs, and they hired like I think three or four, at least two Delta guys to advise and like all the CQB you see them do and stuff. Now they're not doing CQB the way we did it. They're doing it the way the SEALs do it. But like we know enough about how the SEALs do. We've seen them do it and worked with them. Like, and I think they had a SEAL on there, right? Wasn't Mark Owen or one of those guys, one of the producers, I think. So they had some SEAL involvement too, but they had advisors on the show and actors that were retired unit guys. So, but Sapper, I think what you mean is all the SEALs. They have a lot of shows about SEALs, and that's just because they're more in the public eye. I think, like there's plenty of books written by both sides. I think, right? There's probably a few books now by former Delta guys, to include Charlie Beckwith, the founder. Which I think if anyone's going to write a book about the unit, he should be the one because he's the one that created it. I think he has every right to do it. But there's a few others out there. Yes, there's more SEAL books than Delta books, but then SEALs is a big community. I'm not talking about just the Team Six guys. I'm talking about the white side as well, where you got SF guys, Army Green Berets, and Army Rangers that are getting more involved in the movies and the books now. So I mean, the days of the quiet professional, they're still out there. Like I know several guys, like they look at me when I do this stuff, and I don't talk a lot about, I don't talk out of school. I don't think I do about sensitive stuff, and they still kind of frown up down on me, like, you do a podcast now? Hey man, I'm trying to make a living. I'm trying to earn a living. So if you don't like it, that's the beauty of the United States of America. It's a free country. You're entitled to your opinions, and you're entitled to voice your opinions. So, anywho, that's about all I have, unless I get any more last minute questions, because I've been on here. What have we been on here about? Almost an hour. It was an hour ago we tried the first failed attempt when we were in the same room, and I had that echo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my cousin just jumped on. What's up, Sherry? So, your cousin Jaden just had a birthday. Did you see that?
Yeah, I wished him happy birthday on Facebook.
Yeah, that's right. Tell Jaden we said happy birthday. But yeah, what's going on? Sheriff
She can't
Baghdad
reply.
a video. He does, and lately he's been just oh, lately his the bigger his exposure gets, like Joe Rogan, and he did another one, big one recently. The SEAL guy, his name drawing a blank on it right now, but he just tells more and more like stories like that aren't real. Like, come on, dude. There's enough. Like, you should see. I have a Signal app, and on my Signal app, we have veteran unit member and retired operator threads conversations. And when he goes on one of those, Sean Ryan, that was the other one. He went on Sean Ryan. He went on Joe Rogan. He did this real big, high profile podcast. And he's telling these stories about doing some of these crazy wazoo missions, which never happened. But nobody knows any different. And the guys that do know the truth, they're not going to say anything, right? Because they're quiet professionals and they don't want the attention. But that Signal chat blows up. It's pretty funny when that stuff happens. There's a couple others out there, but it's not my place to talk about other people like that. Like, I don't really care. Yeah, you have a good night too. Take care. Man. All right. Well, let me see who's on here. Okay, we still got a few people on there. Nobody's chiming in with anything. Do you guys have any hunting or fishing related questions? Send them. Freddie wants to hear from you. Talk to him. Give him some suggestions on content for his new YouTube channel, The Primal
Yeah.
Pursuit.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't really know. I'll put trail cam footage, tracking, scouting stuff. If I, kill anything, I'll document that. Maybe I can do little bushcraft videos or something. Do little snare traps or something.
People like that. Make a squirrel pole. Nobody's done a squirrel pole that I've seen on social media.
Yeah,
And
squirrel
that's
pool.
one of the
That's a go-to.
easiest ones to set up, and it's probably one of the most effective ones. A good squirrel pole.
Yeah, very fruitful. I actually had a successful. I used a squirrel pole
And
a couple weeks ago in my yard. Because they're bad over there. You've seen them. You've seen how many squirrels are in my neighborhood. There was one time I saw a whole scurry of squirrels run. Actually, I'm pretty sure it was me and you. They just like
yeah,
ran across the road. It was like a horde of them. Yeah, they
yeah, that's like
dig up all our plants and.
capital, man. Like when I walked Boy, remember when I used to come over with Boy and I'd stay the weekend? We'd go to the beach or whatever, or go fishing, and I walk Boy down around your block, down that I call it Squirrel Alley, like that
Hmm.
down near the main road. And I was like, I couldn't believe all the squirrels. I'm like, holy cow, you'll never go hungry if the food supply goes to shit. Like you're never gonna starve over there with all them. You just have squirrel poles on all the neighbors' trees, and
Yeah, exactly.
or you go out before they get up at like 5 and just drag the poles back to your place. Like you're good to go. Fill your.
Mhm.
That's probably that'd be a really cool video to do on your channel. Like it's almost like you said bushcraft, but like a survival. It's not even survival. It's just how to prepare a squirrel.
Oh yeah, that's a good
That would
idea.
be easy. It's fast, and like it doesn't require a lot of resources. You know what I'm saying? That'd be a good one.
Yeah. Dang, yeah, I might have to do that. We'll get some of that this weekend. Do a squirrel pole for some snacks if we don't get any
My,
pigs.
my backyard rabbit farm is has been decommissioned. Remember the pile of brush I had
Yeah.
had going? We
Yeah, you had like 100 generations of rabbits.
had families of rabbits, generations of families of rabbits living under that pile of brush back there for years, man. I remember seeing them every morning out eating, and then in the evening, I'm like, man, I got a good food supply here. I'm not gonna get rid of that. And then your mom got all the trees removed, all the dead trees and shit, and there goes my squirrel or my rabbit farm.
You're-
All right, somebody asked, Sapper asked, has your son ever infused coffee with gunfighter coffee? I think that might be a typo, Sapper. What do you infuse? What with gunfighter? Am I reading that wrong? Hera brought me a live squirrel last weekend. She was so proud. You should have let her eat it because, I mean, that's her instinct is to catch, vanquish, kill any prey and eat it. It's not going to hurt her as long as she kills it and it doesn't like, and it's hopefully it's not rabid.
Yeah, that was Britain's instinct. Last time she got a squirrel, went right to the snap in the
She
neck.
did she eat it or she try to eat
She
it?
she just basically killed it, and then yeah, she would have kept going at it, but I ended up just cutting it up and letting her. I cooked it for her without any seasonings or anything.
Yeah. So Hera, just for everybody's information, is Apollo's sister, one of his siblings, and Apollo is our German Shepherd here, and they're both nuts. They're both prey monsters. So squirrels, rabbits, deer, don't matter. They're hauling ass going after them in the woods. She said she shook it and it died. Oh, Sapper's question, like a coffee liqueur with gunfighter. And that was for you. He said, "Has your son ever infused coffee liqueur with gunfighter coffee?"
I have not. However, I work at a brewery as a brewer, and we did brew a stout or a porter with the the gunfighter coffee. Actually, no, we used the Calm Chaos, I think, the medium roast. But it was awesome. It was our Christmas porter.
Yeah, you guys tested a couple different
Yeah,
of our roasts, right?
we tested all of them. We did a whole trial series. So yeah, we used all of them. My favorite was surprisingly was the light roast because I'm normally a dark roast coffee guy.
Yeah.
But when we infused it with beer, we would cold brew it overnight. I think we did like 12-hour cold brew soak steeps or whatever, and the Nirvana blend would give like a because that's the Ethiopian bean, right? That would give like
Yeah.
a blueberry. It literally tastes like blueberries, like a blueberry flavored coffee when you cold brewed it, just because it has more of that fruity acidity.
Yep.
So yeah, Silencio coffee and beer is really good.
Yeah, when you roast coffee, if depending on how long or you don't, how long are you, I guess, how opposite of long. How long you roast coffee for depends on how it's set. You can roast most of the acidity out of it if it's a super dark roast. So yeah, that fruitiness, those lighter roasts always, not always, but most of them taste a little more fruity, sometimes citrusy, sometimes like you said, blueberry, like there's different notes in there depending on the bean.
Yeah, if you guys haven't tried Silencio coffee in cold brew format, get yourself one of those $10 little cold brew kits on Amazon, and it's awesome. Silencio, like the flavors, you get completely different flavors when you do cold brew versus
A-
hot brew.
Actually, let me correct you, young man. Silencio on our website, we sell home cold brew kits.
Yeah, so get that one. You don't want a shitty Chinese knockoff off Amazon.
That's Mike, my partner at Silencio. You know Mike. That's his baby. He loves the cold brew. When we go do shows, I make the hot coffee in the big giant percolator, and he does the cold brew. We make it in his garage the night before usually, or he makes it. I just watch him. And Sapper said he tried to get some of that beer, Freddie, and they wouldn't ship it to him.
Yeah, yeah, we're pretty small time. So if that's ever the case, hit me up directly. I can just mail it myself. So I don't know. I'll keep you posted next time we use it.
And what's your Instagram handle if they want to DM you?
LA Primal Pursuit.
LA Primal Pursuit. La.
La Primal
That's
Pursuit.
that's French for the Primal Pursuit.
Yep.
I'm no, I'm not a. I did take French for 2 years in middle school, but I don't remember any of it.
I'm gonna
All right.
Cafe Ola.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
All right. So next subject. What do you got? Fire when ready. Because I'm about to sign off here. I'm getting kind of hungry. I
Oh,
think we got some.
Nitro. Your coffee and Nitro. The cold brew Silencio on Nitro. Holy crap, that stuff is good. It literally comes, it pours like a Guinness, it drinks like a Guinness, but it's coffee and it's the bomb.
That's my favorite way to drink Guinness is when it's on nitro. It's hard to find though around here, but sometimes you'll see it.
Mm.
Do they ever do it at Front Street? goodness
No,
on night?
we tried to push to get a nitro set up, but they won't do it. They're cheap.
Uh, I'm just looking through the questions and comments here. Right. That's about it. I guess so I think this was a fruitful live, informative live, so I'm actually going to post this one to my page because usually when I do a live, if it's just me rambling and there's like not a lot of, you know, interaction, I don't post it because I don't think it's worth it. Nobody's going to want to watch me blab up, for 30 minutes about whatever's on my mind. But this one we've had some questions and we've answered some questions and we introduced a interesting new YouTube channel out there for hunting and fishing. Why don't you talk a little bit for these newcomers? We got some newer people that just joined us. Talk a little bit about that new YouTube channel. And is it just hunting or fishing, or are you going to do anything else?
The majority of it will be hunting and fishing. So, yeah, for those of you who don't know, I made a new YouTube channel. It's the same handle as my Instagram, that Primal Pursuit, or you can look up the Primal Pursuit. And same picture. It's got the pig in the middle with two spears on the coming out the sides. And yeah, it'll mostly be hunting, fishing, scouting, tracking, but I'll probably do like trail cam footage and maybe like survival stuff, like video, like you were saying, skinning tutorials, things like that. Anything just outdoors, pretty
I
much.
got a
Anything outdoors, recreation and survival, all that stuff.
Okay. I just had a really good idea of something because something that I've been on the fence about buying, which I haven't pulled the trigger on yet, which is probably next because it's a little bit expensive, a little bit pricey, is a rifle scope camera where I can record through my
Ooh.
view so you can see the reticle and the whole nine. And it's a good tool to teach guys, uh, you know, discussions on reticles and how to use them and, wind calls and watching trace and, teaching all that stuff for the long range side. Another advantage of it is I've seen guys post footage of their tactic cams or trigger cam footage hunting and shooting animals. Now I'm not sure how YouTube feels about that because they may demonetize those kind of videos. I don't know. I don't post hunting videos on YouTube, but I know I've had some issues with some of the content I've done because especially when it involves firearms, they get a little weird
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, they definitely demonetize videos with active hunting, or like if you show, I think you're allowed to show a body if there's no blood. I can't remember. There's weird laws about it, weird rules about it.
Do you think they would shut it down or cancel it if it was like through a scope view of a kill on it, like a shot on an animal and the animal goes down?
So if people post those, I think it's allowed to be on YouTube. I think it's just, yeah, you get demonet. That video will be demonetized.
Mhm.
Um, but I think it's allowed. I've seen plenty of videos like that, like a lot of popular ones. It'll be like Turkish dudes and I don't know, other Eastern Europeans that are hunting those big Eurasian boars
Yep.
in the mountains, and they're using those scope camera. They'll have like a thermal, and you'll just see them send rounds down through the pigs, and
Right.
they get away with it. So
Yeah.
probably do stuff like that. Just won't make money off of it. But I'm not making money off YouTube yet anyway. I got a little while to go before that happens.
Yeah, I would build your brand first, build it up a little, and then, then you can kind of test the waters because you don't want, I mean, I don't know. I'm no YouTube expert, right? I'm kind of new at this shit too. But I don't know. It's hard to tell because like I've had posts on Instagram for years with thousands. I'm sorry, YouTube. It was recently one of my YouTube videos, my CQB demo with Boy. That video has been on there like
Mhm.
2018 maybe earlier, I don't remember. And it got blocked. Not totally, but I had this notice saying it got blocked in many countries. It gave a list of all these countries. They were all countries I don't really doesn't really matter either way. Like Afghanistan, like oh my God, nobody's watching my CQB video in Afghanistan. That's hurtful. But it still doesn't help the growth of the channel, I don't think. So I it was basically a song. The guy that videoed for it, Tactical Baby Gear, took the video for me. He was at the event we did, and he gave me the video, and he put this song on it, this rock song. I tried it with that. They did it. They did the warning. Then I put Brian's band uh, metal song on there, and I think that was good for a little while. And then I decided to change it because Brian left that band. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Now he's back with them, I think, again.
Yeah, Brendan.
Or I don't know if they're still playing a lot together, but I knew he reunited with them. So I'm loyal friends. So I took that song off because he left that band, and I put like a classic, like Mozart song. I don't remember which one, and that's when they smacked the peepee and they're like, yeah, we're not going to show this in all these countries, and we recommend you either delete it or you change it. So I just put the sound, the raw sound of gunfire and the dog barking and me yelling and that kind of stuff. And it's got like 18,600 views now. It went from like 16,000 when it got like started having issues to now it's like 18 in a matter of a few weeks. And then a couple of my check this out, Instagram. Remember that post I did a few posts ago with all the dogs that I've handled
Mm-hmm.
and I've trained? Remember there was like a collage of all of them, like 9 of them, not
Yeah.
all, but 10. And then I did an individual. It was a carousel of pictures. You scroll over and there's Storm, there's Justice, there's Vito, there's all the dogs. Vito was the last one, I think, because he was the most recent. And it was me and him laying in the recliner doing a selfie, like chilling, watching TV. And they said that was one that was getting demonetized because it didn't conform to their guidelines. I'm like,
Is this a pit bull, or because
I don't.
his junk was
The
showing or
Storm,
something?
you're sitting on Storm's back in one of the first ones. Remember that when you were little?
Mm-hmm.
That
I
picture's
wonder,
there.
was his junk? Was it one where he was laying back with his junk out? Maybe that's why.
I don't think so. No, he's just like
Hmm.
upper body, kind of laying like this, and I'm holding him. Yeah, that didn't conform to their guidelines, their community
What the
standards. I'm like,
hell?
dog in a recliner. Like there's other, and I'm not going to get into it, but there's other stuff that I would think would get blocked before that would. And there's a few other videos. There was the one in the back of the Humvee with the machine gun on the swing arm, and I had to edit it and put the Silencio mug on the swing.
Yeah.
Like that one's getting shown to non-followers now. Like you track your analytics, you look at your analytics, and they show you how many non-followers see your stuff. And there was like none seeing my stuff. I'm like, well, I got to edit some of these, and I did, and I think I fixed it. But every once in a while, somebody must go through the photos and find new ones, even though they've been posts for years. They'll find new ones to bitch about. Oh, Sapper said he misses the old Fred lives with bourbons and cigars. Like, I mean, I don't drink as much as I used to, but I still have an occasional whiskey. I'm not gonna say I don't drink whiskey. Cigars I still smoke, but I don't smoke this. I'm up here in my bonus room, up in my office, which is now my podcast studio slash jam room. We get some drums in here and some. It's also our guest bedroom, which Freddie will be sleeping in tonight. So I don't smoke cigars up here, but if I ever do a live outside, I'll have a cigar probably. Maybe even a whiskey. It might get crazy. All right. All right, buddy. Well, I am gonna get ready to sign out here. Do you have any last things you want to talk about? Any of your stuff you want to promote? Plug. Oh, we're gonna leave links to your stuff in this post caption. So
Oh,
when I'm done in this, I'm gonna post all your stuff down there so people can track your. Go follow Freddie on you or the Primal Pursuit.
Yep.
And it's
Follow me on YouTube, my Instagram channel. My YouTube only has like 2 videos. I just made it, so I need to throw some more videos on there. But we'll be
we're gonna
hunting
go.
next weekend. We're gonna be spending 4 days in the swamp hunting off kayaks and john boats and shit. So stay tuned. That should be some pretty good stuff. Hopefully, we'll get some pigs.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Make sure you like, subscribe to Silencio Coffee, subscribe to Storm Tactical Consulting, and definitely subscribe to the Primal Pursuit, all on YouTube. And we're all on Instagram as well and Facebook. Well, I'm on Facebook. The Primal Pursuit is not on Facebook, I don't think.
Not yet. Soon.
All right. Guys, have a good night, and make sure you leave a comment in this post. Thanks. Later.
Thanks for watching.